Welcome back, everyone, for our talk here. Okay, so I wanna talk about a subject that a lot of people may have a lot of questions about, especially when it comes to how do you make money when you are homeless? And a lot of people think, oh, well, you just fly aside. And I wanna actually talk about that a little bit and kind of give you more of an inside view of what works, what doesn't work, why it works, and just the cat and mouse game that you play with this. Plus, you're also going to have to face rules out here as well. And so this is something that if you plan on, okay, I need something to eat, or I need a bus ticket, or whatever it is that you decide that you have the need to go and panhandle to be able to make some money. There are things that work, and then there are things that don't work. And I've tried a lot of the things that don't work. And having somebody like Slack the Hobo, who he has a YouTube channel if you want to go check it out. Somebody like Slack the Hobo, he taught me something about panhandling that I knew, but I just did not fully understand how impactful it was on whether you had a success or had a failure. Because a lot of people don't make more than maybe 10 or 15 bucks a day because they fly a sign, please help, homeless vet, anything helps, God bless, all that stuff. And, quite frankly, this is I always figured that people made a lot of money with it. Just some people made money and some people didn't because of either traffic or environment or the way they looked or things like that. But that's not necessarily always the case. Now, I will tell you about an experience that I had when I had a professional panhandler teach me how to panhandle way back when. Like the first couple of years I became homeless, I happened to be in San Antonio and I ran across a professional panhandler. Well, he used to make like $100 in probably about 4 or 5 hours. And he's like, yeah, it's not hard, it's easy, da 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 da. Part of it has to do with where you're at, but the other part of it has to do with what it is that you do to gain money. And so what he would do, which was different than most people, is he would come up to you like, you got a quarter, you got a quarter, you got a quarter, spare quarter. And the thing is most people would give him, dollar, $5, quarter, whatever. And he would, that's how he would make his money, because he nickel and dime people, and he played the buy volume game. And the buy volume game actually, because a lot more people have a quarter than a dollar. And a lot more people have a dollar than $5 and $10 and $20. But every once in a while he would get one of those kicked down to him. Plus, he was a home bum, so he went to the same spot every day for years. He had regulars, people who knew him, people who watched him, who knew that he was a drunk and that he was just and they didn't mind contributing to somebody drinking, because Texas it has a drinking spirit. They know that some people they just go too far and whatever. But this was how I first learned how to panhandle. And when I escaped that cult later on in San Antonio, I ended up having to use that method to raise enough bus money to get me and the girl that I helped escape to downtown so that she could get to a Greyhound. And then I did it again for so that we could eat hot dogs at a hot dog stand, because I just kind of wanted to impress her. I knew she wasn't available, but guy being a guy, when he sees a pretty girl, you know what it's like, okay? So, and I was a lot better looking back then. I am definitely too ugly to prostitute at this stage of my life. So, and people seem to love that sign. And Slack the Hobo, he showed me some. I went and looked some up on the internet. And quite frankly, what you got to realize that you're doing is people don't want to be asked for money. They don't care about your sob story. They have their own problems. What the truth is that people want a laugh. They want something that is going to make them laugh, and then they'll open up their wallet, because it's just like going to a comedy club. I mean, they want to know that somebody is funny. And like today, a lady gave me, she only gave me $1, but she said that she'd spent 4 hours in jury duty. She absolutely hated it. She needed a laugh, and thanks for the sign, because she needed a laugh. I had I had another lady not too a few days ago who dropped me like a $20 bill because she said, with the day that I've been having, man, I needed that laugh. That was funny. Thank you. And they're thanking me as they're giving. See, that is the difference, and that there is dignity in that. Okay, there is a lot of dignity in that for a lot of different reasons. Because the thing is, you're providing a service. Okay, if you can do something that is unique and makes people want to laugh, and they find it humorous, some of them will just laugh and take a picture and be like, so I've got probably about 30 or 40 pictures posted of me all over Facebook and the internet right now, holding a sign, "Too ugly to prostitute." I even got a couple that say, "Smile if you masturbate." That's my favorite one, but I got in so much trouble for that. The cop just comes up and he's like, yeah, you need to change your sign. He didn't say I couldn't do my sign. He just said I need to change my sign. And I'm like, you know what? It's a joke. Why is it that we could talk, we could teach second graders to masturbate by a teacher, but yet I can't make a joke about it? These kids by second grade, they already know what it is because they're being taught it. So it's not like it's taboo. It's not like I'm showing porn. I mean, but apparently, some signs are going to cause issues. Like, I'm waiting to get the balls together to fly a sign that says, "Lost my weed in a series of small fires." So I like that one too. And the thing is if you're gonna laugh and you're gonna, cause see when I was doing the "smile if you masturbate," I was snickering the whole time. I couldn't stop laughing. I almost cried. I was laughing so hard because I found it absolutely funny. And so I knew that there was going to be enough people that if I found it funny, they'd find it hilarious. And I mean, before I even walked out of McDonald's, I had people, "Man, I love it." So I'm like, "Hey, you want a picture of it?" And the thing is when you get into it, it allows you to interact with people. It gives you an opportunity to kind of, play or pander to the crowd and have a moment. And when you're pandering to the crowd and you're working the crowd and you're being a social person, I guess this is where my experience of being a salesman comes from. But when you're able to pander to the crowd and you're able to interact with them in a point that you start. I mean, I'm no comedian. I have British humor. I mean, my humor is so dry that I watch British comedians and I love their crap. But when it comes to American British humor is just too dry, and I have a dry sense of humor. So I'll leave it at that. But when it comes to panhandling, and when it comes to actually going out there and making some money, now you got to realize also when you do these signs, okay, and this is something that I'm taking into account, is that if you're going to be in an area for a good couple of weeks, I would fly the sign for no more than maybe a week. And then after a week of flying the sign, if you're going to frequent the same spot, either move a different spot or start creating a list of signs. So as you've heard 3 that I've talked about, and one of them was given to me. A couple of them I found online because I don't have a natural sense of humor, but I can definitely interact with the crowd. Okay, and so I'm using that to my advantage, and it's doing enough to where instead of having to come to you guys and say, "Hey guys, can you please leave something in the tip jar? I could really use it. Could really help." Oh, it's a fire truck, or no, that. Yeah, I think they got a real fire going or something. But anyways, it just I'm noticing that it is more lucrative for me to be entertaining. And I don't feel like a slime bag because I know that I'm providing something. One of the things that I like to do, because I have a talent for history, is I used to do a history for $1. Okay, and then I would teach you a piece of history that I knew, and I would tell it in such a story manner that people absolutely loved it. And people sometimes just come by and be like, "No, I heard your history, but I love it." And they would just every once in a while they would just come by and give me $1. But you gotta look at it from this standpoint. You don't want to burn out an area. You gotta look at it like in the same way that you conserve water, you need to conserve the frequency in which an area sees your sign. You need to be able to, as you travel around, you want to be able to have the sign still be fresh and new, and you don't there there's something, I don't know, the same joke gets old after a while, even though there's going to be new people doing it, and new people seeing it. After a while, a joke, people compliment me on the uniqueness of my sign. Now, it's not unique to me because it was somebody else who gave me the idea, but you get the idea. It has to be unique. It has to be funny. It has to be entertaining. You don't want to talk about politics or sob stories or anything else. You don't even need to say God bless, because honestly, that takes away from the humor of it. Just state something funny, okay? No, my dog will not lick peanut butter off your balls. Because I had somebody with the Too Ugly to Prostitute. I had some guy like, oh, if I had known you had a dog, I'd offer to have licking peanut butter off my balls. And I'm like, and so I thought, I might actually fly a sign. No, my dog will not lick peanut butter off your balls. And then if a cop comes to me, I can tell him, hey, I flew this sign and I had people Maybe he might get the humor in it. But anyways, okay, before I forget, I want to remind you that there are some rules in panhandling, depending upon what city you're in, what rights you might have, what rights you might not have, how they may enforce things, what are legitimate, what can you fight, how do you want to be able to handle it? Because here in Orlando, I've ran into some issues. I also ran into an issue in Sanford. And so, I've never had issues anytime I panhandle, but recently I'm having issues with that. And so let me share with you some of the rules that I've learned, some of them that I've known, and some of them that that are just, some of them are just damn right stupid. Okay, but they're rules, and I'll tell you whether or not you can fight it or not. Okay, so the first rule is, can you panhandle? Yes, legally you can. It is covered by the First Amendment speech. You have the right to beg. Okay, and that is part of your right, your First Amendment right. Now, there are some rules to that. You can't solicit drugs or sex, and it kind of has to be like PG-13. So Too Ugly to Prostitute is like right up there to that line, but smile if you masturbate is a little bit over the line. Okay, and now if you really wanted to fight it, you could. Because there really is no line as long as you're not inciting violence, mass hysteria, soliciting drugs, or sex. Okay, those are the only rules that prevent you from putting anything you want on a sign that you want to fly. But you also better be prepared to fight it the more extreme that you go. So if you want to Alex Jones it, go ahead and Alex Jones it. Okay, so the other one is so I got a warning today, because I was flying next to on a one-way street, and I would step out into traffic, and quite frankly, I wasn't stepping out into traffic, and I technically have the right to step out into traffic, and if somebody offers something to me, technically I have the right to do it, because if you go look in your DMV handbook, anywhere a pedestrian crosses is a crosswalk. So that whole jaywalk thing doesn't fly. If it did once, it don't anymore. Just because of the way the DMV, looks at pedestrians. Pedestrians always have the right of way. Okay, so anywhere a pedestrian crosses is considered a crosswalk, according to the DMV handbook that I read. Okay, and so therefore, yes, you could fight it, and you could probably. It would probably go through like multiple appeals for one reason or another. You would also have to be like convicted of it. You should look into City of Boise v. Martin. Either that's the other way around, but that right there sets a lot of precedence as far as the rights that you have as an individual. Okay, I'm not gonna fight that one just because it is what it is, and there's no point in fighting it. Okay, most of the time, if they try and prevent you from sitting, standing, or waiting in an area, if they have you sitting, they cannot prevent you from sitting, standing, doing anything that a normal citizen of a city would do. So basically, it granted citizenship rights. Now, you can get caught for loitering, but if you're in a business, make sure you have a receipt and you're not loitering. Now, there are some reasonable expectations, but you went in there with a purpose. You purchased a coffee, and it's up to the business owner to kick you out. And once he's kicked you out, then it's trespassing. But as a customer, to say that you're loitering, it wouldn't be loitering. And loitering and trespassing have different ways in which the criminal system will treat you. So just so you know. Okay, those are the basic rules that I know. You don't want to be. You got to look at it like this. Don't impede traffic. Oh, one more thing. Which is don't impede traffic, whether it be foot traffic. So you have to be able to make sure that two people can walk side by side through the sidewalk for you. That's plenty of space for you to be able to do it. But you may be cramped if they have small sidewalks. So find big sidewalks. Here in Orlando, I had a lady threaten to call the cops on me, and so I as I was talking to Sam, I was telling her how much of a POS I thought she was. Oh, that sign, that you can't have that. It's like, no, but I'm legally allowed to. I could sit there and I should go out there and do a sign that says, this business hates homeless, and then I could sit out there and be like, hey, I'm actually doing my patriotic duty of protesting you because of how you treated me and violating my rights last night. I could definitely go do that, and then there's not a thing anybody could do to me, because you don't need a permit to protest. Okay, but you do want to sit on the edge of the sidewalk. They are color coded here in Orlando, so like you see the main brick, you don't do that, and then you see the white brick, that's the business, and then the other white brick on the other side, that is out of the way. And so they, in a lot of ways, in certain parts, they have marked it, and I kind of like it like that. And so I even had a cop today try to tell me, well, it's panhandling is against the city ordinance. I'm like, yeah, are you willing to stake your whole career on that? Because I tell you what, I'm not going to be prevented from panhandling, and I will tolerate it up to a certain point. But there may become a point where, I love Sam and I want to take care of her, but if that means I got to go to jail to fight this because I'm just tired of them harassing me at a certain point, I'm ready to fight back, because I know free man crap, and I have enough knowledge to be extremely dangerous and do some things that people would just be jaw dropped about, and then I'd have a gag order put on me so I could never talk about it again. So if that ever happens, I will have to deal with what I have to deal with. But that is one thing that is going to be, I'm gonna really have to weigh my options. But if I keep getting harassed over enough period of time, there are recourse, and I may talk about that. If you guys leave a comment down in the comment section and ask me to talk about ways for recourse and being able to enforce your rights, I will share with you what I know, and then we can go from there. That if you guys find this entertaining, if you find value in this, and that this is going to help you either give or receive, drop me something down in the tip jar. If you find that this information is valuable, if you find valuable as well, make sure that you subscribe, hit that bell notification. I go live a couple times, once or twice a week, and that way I can answer your questions and give you guys updates and talk about all different things. So anyways, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.